Hey everybody, what's preppin'? Today's video is going to be on the serious side, and so why don't you grab some coffee and we're going to sit down and chat a little bit. It's time for me to have a little bit of a sassy chat with you, but I won't be too sassy, so stay tuned. All right, let's get into this video, and what I want to do is ask you a question. What would you do if you knew ahead of time that tomorrow the crap was going to hit the fan? The SHTF was going to happen. I've been thinking a lot as I've been watching the world events going on, things happening in, globally here in our country. And what if I actually knew, as a believer in Jesus, I know that Jesus is coming one day. I know Jesus is coming back for his own, and all of the believers are going to be caught up in the clouds with Jesus. And I know that that's coming. I know that day is coming, and I need to be prepared for that day. I think of Joseph in the Bible, and Joseph had a dream. God gave him a dream, a foreshadowing that there was going to be a time of plenty, and then there was going to be a time of famine. Joseph knew. He stored all these grains. People from all over were coming to him for food. I think of stuff like this. I think of, these stories in the Bible, these events that have happened. And I'm watching and I'm thinking, what if I were like Joseph and I knew that tomorrow dire times were going to be coming? So I made a list. I have a lot on the list, but I'm only going to give you the top 12 or 13 things that I would do in the last 24 hours if I knew that the crap was going to hit the fan tomorrow. Okay. The first thing I would do is I would get all the water. I would fill all the containers I had with water. We have these water bombs and they go in your tub. I would be filling everything with water. Filling up the tubs, filling up containers, Berkey, getting out whatever water filtration systems I have, making sure that we have got water that we can use. Maybe even go pick up some extra water, extra cases of water and things like that, just to be sure that we had a head start on water. Then I would gas up all of our vehicles and make sure that we had gas for our generator. The next thing I would do would be to charge all of our electronics and charge up all the rechargeable batteries, make sure everything is all set to go for power being out. Then I would make sure that we were locked and loaded and we are ready to rock and roll, if you know what I mean. I would shower and take that last shower. Ladies and gents, shave, do one last shave maybe. Maybe cut your hair. Guys, ladies, I don't know if you cut your own hair, but cut your hair, give yourself a last haircut. Communication would be the next thing that I would do. I would communicate with my loved ones, the family that is important to me. I would do a last bit communication, and maybe I would even try to see if I can influence someone to maybe get something done without creating too much attention. Checking in with our MAG group, especially. MAG is our multi-assistant group, where we have a group together. I'd be checking in with them and saying, making sure that they know that the SHTF is going to be happening. Making sure that we have everything, the plans are ready to go, location is ready. The next thing on my list is to test gear and equipment. Then I would do a grocery supply run. So anything that I would need to top off any perishables, but nothing that would draw too much attention. Wouldn't want to be the cause of panic. The next thing on my list would be to liquefy the financial assets that we have, get money out of the bank as much as we can without drawing too much attention to what we're doing. The next thing would make sure that I would fortify our home, to make sure that we have everything working outside, check the fence, check everything around our home, making sure that we have everything that's all safe to the best of our abilities. We're certainly not remote, but we're not in the city either. Prayer is on my list. Pray and seek God's help for how we should be, what we should be doing these last hours, seeking his guidance and his protection, as we enter into an SHTF scenario. I would also want to see if I could refill any prescription medications, if it's at all possible, trying to see if I could get a refill ahead of time. And then I would also want to stock up on over-the-counter medications, is again, as much as I can without drawing attention, pain relievers, cold medicines, medical supplies, bandages, things like that you'd want to have in a med kit. Make sure that you're stocked up and then go replenish those supplies. The next thing on my list is that I would want to make sure that all of our important papers are together. Our marriage license, birth certificates, voter registration cards, any other pertinent information, making sure all of the important papers are in place and identification. One of the last things I think is very important as well is that I would want to take a picture of my family, a current picture of all of us together, so that you can just prove that the people in your family are in your family. This is all of us together. These are members of my family. Yes, this is us. That came from the Magic Prepper. I was watching one of his videos recently, and he was talking about similar scenarios, and he mentioned about taking a picture of the family to prove your family is your family. And I thought that was just a priceless tip. And so I want to pass that along to you as well, because it's something that I'm going to implement, even if it's just a, Snapchat kind of picture. Print it out and then keep it with our important papers, keep it with my identification, keep it in a wallet, keep it, somewhere so that people can see that this is all of us together, and that people aren't second guessing, especially if you have small kids. That's just the kind of world that we live in. People adopt. We have blended families and all kinds of things, and you just never know. People may start second guessing, and it could lead to a whole bunch of trouble. So these were some things that I had on my list, but I also want to just address real quick, if it can be quick at all. If you are someone who has not prepped at all, and you find yourself in a situation where you know that there is going to be something happening tomorrow, you have 24 hours to prepare, for something. At least you would have 24 hours advance notice, and you would be able to concentrate on these things. Now, make sure you write these down. These are the areas that you want to be concerned about. So if you know that something is going to happen, let's say, well, even so, if you live in a hurricane prone area, you kind of have advanced warning. You have a few days that that a hurricane is going to be coming in. So if you're not going to evacuate, you would prepare, right? In this order, I want you to write these things down. I want you to think about these things in this order for an emergency that is coming: water, food, power, shelter, security, toilet, and communication. Okay? These are 7 areas, if you will, 7 areas or categories of prepping that you need to be concerned about. The main one is water. Okay? You need water. You know that you can't go very long without water. What's recommended is to store up 3 gallons of water per person per day. You need a water source of some kind, or you need that much water stored up. If there are 2 people in your house, you're going to need 6 gallons of water per day. And if you plan for a month, that's 180 gallons of water you're going to need stored up to cover yourselves for a month for drinking and cooking. Okay? And then there's some other things like brushing your teeth and stuff like that. That's a lot of water. And so if you don't have a water source, you don't have a way to purify water or that kind of thing, you're gonna be in trouble. Okay? You can get by on a gallon of water per person per day, but that's you better have a whole lot of ready to eat food. And the next category is food. Some of the best things to store are foods that are ready to eat, where you just open the pouch and you can eat it. Things like ready to eat rice, granola bars, energy bars, those kinds of things. Hormel Completes. Those are already pre-cooked. You just pull the little cellophane film back and then you could just eat the meal. They probably won't taste good cold. Cans of soup, you can eat those right out of the can. Things like that you wouldn't have to use any water for. Those will get you by for the first, few days. But after that, you're going to need some water to cook some food, and you should have shelf-stable food like pasta, beans, and rice, okay? Under power, you're going to want, it's an alternate light source or an alternate way to heat your air, heat your home, or air conditioning, either way. When we're talking about roughing it, you're going to need some light. You're going to need to be able to see, when it gets dark. So you're going to want some hurricane lamps, you're going to oil lamps, you're going to want some candles of some sort to give you some light. But yeah, you're gonna need some power to cook food unless you know how to make a fire, okay? And so under the next category, shelter, I would include in your shelter, you're gonna need some heating for especially if it's in the wintertime. You're gonna need to know how to make a fire. You're gonna need to know how to get your heat so that you can not freeze to death. You're going to need security, okay, to keep yourself safe and your family safe and your dwelling safe, okay, your shelter, whatever that is, your home, or if it's a tent, if it's your car, whatever, you're going to want to make sure that you've got some things in place to be secure, to protect yourself and your supplies. You're also going to need, okay, so we don't think about this a lot, but you're gonna need a way to go to the bathroom. And at home, if it's a power outage, you've got some time before, but if it's long term, that water is probably not, you're gonna start having problems. So that is a serious thing that you need to think about, is where would we go to the bathroom and what are we going to do with it? That's stuff that I worry about. What are we gonna do with all of our crap? And then communication. You need a way to communicate with other people, okay? If it's a group of people that you have, you want to get together, or it's a way of maybe charging a phone and being able to communicate with someone that way, going old-fashioned and writing letters to people, setting up some kind of communication or finding a way to communicate. There would also be walkie-talkies, be some kind of a CB radio, some kind of an emergency radio, like a hand crank radio that will allow you to hear what is going on, so you can be, keep abreast of what's happening, in the emergency situation. I just want to get these out there, and, I'm sorry that it may not sound as organized as, doesn't sound as organized as I wanted it to, but I do want to get you thinking about what you would do. I really want to encourage you, if you are someone that has not started, or if you're at the very, very beginning, definitely make sure that you have food and water, especially because we cannot go very long without those, and you need to keep your strength up. So keep your eyes open, stay safe, stay aware, and until next time, prep it up, pack it up, and stack it up, y'all. Don't stop.